Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Brody Uttley of Rivers of Nihil to the program tonight. Brody, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
I am doing excellent. New album, The Work, coming out September 24th on Metal Blade. Heard the one track that you put the video out for called Clean. Really great stuff. You got to be anxious to get this out to the masses.
Yeah. I mean, it's a record that we've been working on for the last 2 years, I guess, and it's been recorded since November. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. So we're looking forward to finally getting it out for people to hear.
Now, if I read correctly, this is the fourth album. You've sort of been patterning albums after the seasons. This was an idea I think Adam came up with. So this is your winter record. Am I correct with that?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah. So hence the cover art, which is really fantastic. Who came up with that?
That was kind of, well, Dan Seagrave did the art. He's done all four of our albums so far. Um, Dan Seagrave's pretty much a legend at this point in the death metal art realm, between, Morbid Angel and Decrepit Birth and Suffocation. And, he's just kind of, he's like one of like the names that always kind of pops up whenever you're talking about death metal artwork. So yeah, he came up with the art for this album based on some discussions between us and the band and himself, as well as listening to the album and reading the lyrics. He's really great to work with because he kind of takes everything into consideration. He like really dives in head first and listens to the record a whole bunch and really dives deep on the lyrics and kind of reacts to the material, and that's how we end up with these album covers. And he killed it on this one. This is definitely by far my favorite artwork that we've ever had as a band so far.
Excellent. I gotta ask though, on the one corner there, you got like some looks like railroad cars, train cars that are sort of in a mishmash in a pile there. Is that in any way reference to that Snowpiercer movie and TV show?
No, but now, I mean, now that you bring it up, I mean, like I could definitely see why you're asking that. Actually, the trains are they're in our hometown of Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
The Reading Railroad is uh one of the oldest railroad lines in the country. It was one of the earliest to be incorporated, I believe. Along with the Philadelphia Railroad, and it runs right through town here, and literally 50 yards from my house, the train runs by there. So it's kind of this, omnipresent sound, like
Right.
in our hometown. It's kind of a reminder of, where you're at really. So we just kind of like wanted to have, there's a lot of field recordings on this new record, like recordings from the world around us. And there's a lot of that train that ended up on the record in various ways. And it seemed appropriate to kind of include that on the album cover as part of this like landscape that's basically being torn apart, I get it's kind of just a reference to, our hometown really, I guess.
Awesome. Reading, also known as the Pretzel City. They still do a lot of pretzels down there in Reading?
Yeah, I mean they have Tom Sturgis pretzels down there. We also got Diefenbach chips, which ironically our singer Jake Diefenbach, he is loose somehow related to that company. I guess he ended up on the other side of the family that doesn't get to collect all the
Doesn't get the free
funds from it.
chips. Yeah.
The free chips and the money. But yeah, Diefenbach's chips as well. But yeah, we got a whole bunch of pretzels and chips and stuff here in Reading for sure.
Awesome. Guitars, synth, keys were tracked at your house, and then you went down to Atrium Studio in Lancaster, and that's where everything else was sort of put together.
Yep, that's right. I did all that stuff here in my place in Reading from probably late August of 2020 to late October of 2020, and then basically took my whole studio over to their studio, and we basically connected our studios and finished everything there. So Yeah, it was great. We've worked with those guys 4 or 5 times before this. So it was just like, second nature to us. We love working with those guys. It's real easy and real chill, which is required for recording an album for us. We like it when stuff is nice and laid back.
Absolutely. Got some old friends back once again. Zach Strauss on sax, James Jordan from Black Crown Initiate, and Grant, of course, plays cello.
Mhm.
I love the way you incorporate all those different instruments into the recording. Very, very cool stuff right there.
Yeah, yeah, good dudes. Glad to have those guys back.
Yeah. Did I read you once played sax long ago? You took some sax lessons, played in jazz band in school and stuff?
I did, and actually our singer did as well. I don't know, I don't know what he ended up doing with the sax, but yeah, I actually I played in the I believe it was sixth or yeah, I think it was sixth grade jazz band at my school. I was terrible, um, but there was a guitar player who was playing Metallica riffs in the back, and that's kind of one of the main reasons that I yeah, started playing guitar, believe it or not, was because of me being in that band on the sax, and then seeing the guy play guitar for the band in the background. He would play Metallica songs in between, us playing the whatever it was that we were playing, and I was like, you know what? I'm not very good at this sax thing. Maybe I should try something else out.
Guitar came much easier, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was, yeah, I guess, long story short, yeah, it just worked
Yeah.
out for the
Yeah.
best, I guess.
You started out sort of on classical guitar, did that a little bit, or just with a classical guitar, and also did some piano lessons as well?
Yeah, I took piano lessons for like four years, maybe, probably between the ages of like 7 and 11, maybe. It was like a real, that's like one thing that I still use a lot to this day, is like just the general stuff that I learned in piano, on piano when I was like younger, just like how chords work together, and like just like what notes really work together and which ones don't. So yeah, I did take piano lessons for about 4 years, and I did play classical guitar, but like it wasn't like anything serious that like I could, be like, oh yes, I can play this classical piece finger style. Like I was never good at it. It was just kind of like my first foot in the door with guitar was on a classical guitar. So yeah,
Cool.
but piano was definitely more of my that was the first instrument that I like actually got kind of serious with, I guess, before
Yeah.
guitar. So yeah.
Forgive me if I'm asking a dumb question here, because I know nothing about music other than putting a CD in or an album on. You were talking about your piano lessons and finding out what notes and chords work together. Is that what involves music theory, or is that something different?
Uh, sort of. I mean, like that could be drawn to theory, but like I guess more what the piano lessons were valuable for me with was ear training. Just like being able to like hear like that's a bad note or that's a good note, or like have hear a piece of music and be able to like find the notes on the keyboard, and then like learn the piece of music through just like hearing,
Mm,
basically mimicking what it is that I'm hearing. So like I did, I could sight read and all that stuff
mm,
with piano, which I'm not very good at on guitar, but on piano I was like pretty decent at it. So there was some theory, I guess.
mm.
But it was more so just like me being able to like train my ears to like know what worked, and what didn't, what sounded good and what didn't.
Yeah. Now you got the one video for Clean Out. The album comes out, the 24th of September. Do we have any other videos or music that's going to come out prior to the album release?
Yeah, we have two more singles and videos that we're going to be releasing between now and then. Um, don't want to like say specifically when, but
Sure.
there will be two more songs coming out before the album is released on the 24th. One of them will be released very close to the album date, so that could kind of, if you could space it out evenly, you could probably figure out around when each one of those is going to come out.
Awesome. You still do music first, then lyrics?
Yeah. Usually how it works is I will demo out like a part of a song or an entire song at my place, and send it off to the guys, and they'll kind of give their input. And sometimes, lyrics will get written, on the spot, and we'll kind of like, just keep stuff on the back burner until it's studio time. But most of the time, what ends up happening is we'll wait until the very end once we have the whole piece of music completed, and then whether it's Biggs or Adam or Jake, our singer, those guys will kind of like listen to the whole album and like apply the lyrics after the fact, just so that it's like, tailored the most directly to what the final musical product ended up being.
Cool. Were the tracks on this album all new stuff, or do you have any leftover stuff from previous albums, or?
Oh, these were all new ones. Once we did the last record, just start with a clean slate. Actually, like got a whole new computer, whole new hard drive. Started from zero on this one. So yeah, these were all new ones. Started writing them a little bit after the last record came out, sometime in late 2018 or early 2019. Started working on this stuff. So yeah, all fresh stuff.
Cool. I see you've got some dates. It's called, what is it, the Up from the Sewer tour with Black Dahlia Murder, After the Burial, Carnifex, Undeath. Everything's still a go with that for now? I know you got some that are sold out and everything, and
yeah, we're full steam ahead, and from what I've heard from the Dahlia camp, they are as well. So I think the plan is to just go out there and do the best we can with keeping everybody healthy and safe and all that, and just kind of pressing forward. I mean, we're pretty early in the as far as like the tours that are going on. We're one of the first ones back out there this fall. So we're just going to go out there and do what we do, and maybe do it with a little bit more precaution this time, I guess, and just hope for the best, I guess.
Yeah, that's all pretty much you can do. Not bad though. All those dates for you guys. I read your one-time goal was to tour for a week. Solid.
Oh yeah. Well, we're far beyond the week long one now, but yeah, it's a long one. 5 weeks, I guess. Yeah.
Crazy to think, in the beginnings of Rivers of Niles, you guys go back to MySpace,
Oh yeah.
and everything. With everything that's evolved, give me one thing that's changed for the better and one thing that's changed for the not so good from those days to now.
Ooh, okay. Well, I think maybe one of the things that is not so good, and I don't know if it's actually not good or if it's just like the progress of technology and how things work, but I know now there's like a lot more algorithms, and there's a lot more just general technology behind like how like an artist's reach works. Like whereas previously you'd be able to post something and like everyone that followed you would be able to see it. Now it's like based on oh well, are you sharing an outside link, a link that'll take you away from Facebook or Instagram, or is there a lot of text on the image? If it is, they're gonna push down on the visibility. Whereas in the past, I think it was a little bit more of the Wild West. So like I guess that's maybe a disadvantage, is that like it's harder to get your fans in the loop with stuff because of all of the the progress that's happened. Well, if you want to call it progress, everything that's going on with algorithms and reach and whatnot. And I guess a positive thing could be similar to the negative, in that like there's so many tools now for artists to use technology to promote their product, whereas before it was like kind of just like, oh well, you had MySpace and then you went on tour, and then you had like mp3.com or whatever, or Bandcamp or whatever. But like now there's just so many different social media platforms and so many different ways to like get your stuff out to people. So like without ever with all through your phone basically. So I mean that's I guess that's a positive.
That's a great point about the algorithms and stuff, though. I hadn't really thought of that a whole lot. Great. Awesome point.
Yeah, it's way different now than it was in 2000, even 2012. I mean, I remember when Instagram first came around, you could post something, and if, 100 people were following you, then you'd get 99 likes,
Right.
whereas now it's like, I think there's like 50,000 people following us on Instagram, and like we're lucky if we get 4,000 likes on a really great post. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So it's
yeah,
like stuff has changed for sure.
definitely. Well, let's point people towards metalblade.com to do all the pre-order stuff. You got some really nice looking box sets on there. Pretty cool to put out. Do you guys have a hand in putting all that stuff together, or is that something Metal Blade takes care of for you?
Actually, I put that together with Metal Blade myself.
Cool.
That box set in particular was something that I had kind of been thinking about for a while, and I helped them design the photo book that you get with the deluxe vinyl, which is like, I think, 50 pages of images of like us, out on the road on the last album cycle, us recording this record and everything that went on during the making of this record, and I helped them put all that stuff together, and really had my hands on this time with like all of the, well, not just me, but like the other guys in the band as well, with just the general design of all of the visual stuff this time, since it's a different kind of record for us. We wanted to have, really cool, interesting stuff to go along with it, so yeah, it was Metal Blade's been great, very helpful and supportive, and kind of just giving us the keys and saying like, all right, well, have at it, guys. You know, been real. They've been real supportive and hands off, I guess, which
Excellent.
is what all you can ask for with a label. But yeah, it's been great.
Very cool. Taking you back in time a little, you got started. Your dad, I read, had a really big record collection and also a whole bunch of music docs that you used to watch. What was like
Oh
one
yeah.
of the first albums that you really grasped out of his collection that sort of lit your fire? And then what music doc did you watch back then that you would say is the most true to life, that you've learned the most from now that you're in the business?
Mm. Good question. Well, I would say the first like the first like record of out of his collection that like I really that really affected me as far as like, what I do now, I would say is Iron Butterfly.
Mm,
That I'm not, the song Inagata Davida.
yeah.
Yeah, that song he had that on record, and then he also had a VHS tape of like the extended version of that song with like, which is like 16 minutes long, and it like features like a solo section from each part of the band: drums, organ, guitar, bass. And when I saw that, specifically the drums and the guitar, just like wailing and making these crazy sounds. You had a bright shiny red guitar, and the drums were just insane and like super, just enormous sounding. Like I remember hearing those sounds and then later seeing the video and just thinking it was like the coolest thing ever. So that was probably the first like record to affect me deeply and make me want to like, grab a tennis racket and pretend to play the guitar along with it. And as far as like docs go, I guess like I watched a lot of Led Zeppelin documentaries,
Mm,
kind of about like, and I don't know, they talk just as much about like the industry on those as they did like, just the business side of things, as they did, going out and being rock stars or whatever. But I think
yeah.
I don't know, I think like watching those Led Zeppelin documentaries, and like another band that I watched a lot of docs from was called Badfinger. They were
Yeah.
a band from the 60s that were on the Beatles label. They had a really tragic story of like how the industry, like their manager basically like sucked all the money out of their band, and like two of the
Mm,
guys ended up committing suicide, and the band fell
right.
apart because they had no money. And like I think, all that kind of stuff, I know this sounds like it's going to be negative, but like all that stuff like really just taught me a lot about like what I was getting myself into,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that it really was like the Wild West, and like there were no guarantees that like sometimes, people are going to be out for themselves, as opposed to being out to help others. And like I think seeing that stuff as a kid, planted the seeds in my head of like, approaching certain stuff with caution, and
Mm,
like just like, being mindful of like my interactions with people and like looking for, potential red flags in situations that could lead to, bad things occurring in the future. So like, I know, like I said, it sounds like a negative, but, I think watching all that stuff as a kid really kind of geared me up for, what it was that I was getting myself into. So
You learn
Led
a lot
Zeppelin
about
and
what not
sorry,
to
go ahead.
do. You learn a lot
Yeah,
about what not to do.
yeah, exactly. Just like stuff like, like reading contracts before you sign them, and stuff like
Exactly.
that, things that, bands in those documentaries like definitely did not do,
Mhm.
so like that stuff was all great learning material for me as a kid and still today, I guess.
Absolutely. I was talking with Brody Uttley here, guitarist, keyboardist for Rivers of Nile, their new album, The Work, coming out on Metal Blade Records on September 24th. You go to metalblade.com, check out all the different packages you can get, so whether you want CD, vinyl, or the big pack or whatever. Really, really cool stuff. I'm anxious to hear the rest of the album. I love the first single. It was excellent. Brody, I'd like to wrap up with just some quick, fun questions. Maybe these are questions you've never been asked. Sound good?
Sure, sounds good.
Favorite toppings for your pizza?
uh Probably onions, green peppers, and black olives.
All right. What is one basic item, other than the obvious musical stuff, one basic item you always throw in your travel bag when you go out on tour?
Metamucil, because you never know what your stomach's going to do when you switch to all fast food at the beginning of a tour. So yeah, bring your fiber out. Very important to keep you regular and keep you happy and feeling good.
All right. Favorite part of the day?
I would say at this point, I'm probably a morning person. I like getting up and having coffee and maybe a bagel or whatever, and just kind of, yeah, and enjoying the morning, I guess.
Cool. If you could be born in another era, what would you pick? Like 60s, 70s, 80s, something like that.
Whew. Well, if I mean, as far as being born, I would probably have to say I'd like to have been born in the early 60s so that I could have experienced the 70s full swing.
Mm,
Um, so the 70, if I could like be,
right.
20 in any decade, it would probably be the 70s because most of my favorite bands were killing it back then. So the 70s for sure.
Cool. Have you ever prank called someone?
Oh yeah, a bazillion times. I'm pretty sure we've even back in the early days of the band. I'm pretty sure we even prank called our own manager a few times. So yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that anymore. But I know it happened on a few occasions in the past.
Favorite old school wrestler?
Ooh, I always thought that Kane was really cool.
Mm,
Yeah, Kane, The Undertaker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, he's you can't really battle with that one. Stone
yeah.
Cold is kind of the king of all kings when it comes to classic wrestling guys. So probably those
Absolutely.
three guys.
If you could pick a television show to have one of the songs off of The Work placed in, what show would you pick?
Oh, easy, Twin Peaks. Twin
Twin
Peaks for
Peaks?
sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Last one. This is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you have portray you? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anyone.
Oh my God. Oh man. I mean, phew, that's a tough one. I mean, maybe like if we're not going on appearances, like if we're just going off
Yeah.
of like who I would like to see myself played by, maybe Daniel Day-Lewis, just because
Okay.
he's played some pretty intense characters. Not that I'm an intense character, but like I'd love to see what he did with my personality.
Yeah. Excellent. Brody, is there anything I didn't ask you, anything you didn't get to talk about in this interview before we wrap up? The floor is yours.
No, I think we covered everything. Just thanks for all the support so far, everyone, and keep your eyes out for some new singles coming out in the next month or so, and pick up the new record, The Work, out on September 24th on Metal Blade Records. You can pick it up on their website and get it on Bandcamp and anywhere else you consume your music from.
Absolutely. And we wish you safe and healthy travels out there on that Up from the Sewer tour. That sounds like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, excited. Thanks a lot.
All right. Brody, thank you very much for your time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thanks for the interview. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.